Okay, let me ground for a second. If you wanna, yes, if you wanna ground with me,
Yes,
um,
I'm doing that.
and maybe go about 100 meters, 150 up for a second, and pull some white light from there, and let it like a waterfall of white light, let it fall into the top of your head, down your spine, going all the way to your root chakra, and then just let it flow down. Let the waterfall continue. Go into the earth like water trickling through all the way through all the layers of the earth, right to the center. And then it turns around, it comes back up through all the layers of the earth. It touches the soles of your feet, going up your ankles, your calves, your knees, upper legs, hips, where it meets with your root chakra again, and belly, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and the top of your head. And let it come out of the top of your head like a water, like a spray of water, and just land anywhere. And then give yourself permission that this flow from up to into your crown and then into the earth and up back up your feet. Give yourself permission that that can keep on flowing with positive energy. And when you're ready, open your eyes. That was nice.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm first going to let you talk from the conversation that we had earlier. How did you how did you process that?
Yeah, I already felt the shift, I already felt just after talking it through. I could see how important it is, to work on that topic and to work on the how to get it done. And because it's just, yeah, I got already a lot of clarity. So I'm very excited to see how much deeper we are going now in the field. Because I already feel relieved, after that conversation already. I mean, I know that you are a very powerful healer, so I know that you are working behind the wheels as well. So I could really feel a lot of things shifting in my energy system. So thank you so much for that already.
You're welcome. Well, good. So, and I'm happy that you said that because it feels like you're ready to take the next, to go into, it felt also like the break was really good to,
Yes, yeah,
um,
yeah.
to reset. Okay. So let me go through the components of the constellation that we're going to do together, and interrupt me. Interrupt me. Addition. Put extra things in if you feel like. Correct me if I didn't get something right. And if you feel like at some point I'm saying the right thing but not in the right words, correct me as well, and make sure that we have this in your words, in your, because I can only interpret so much, right? So
Yes, yes.
give me information. Okay, so we are going to do a systemic constellation called the Brahma constellation. And why that specific one? So yeah, Brahma constellation, solution constellations, internal parts, right? And I was a little bit in doubt which of those, but throughout our conversation, you basically started, and it always happens like that, right? You started giving me information that indicated that that was the best one. So problem constellation, I'm going to go into that And so what is the problem that we have here is basically the throughout this, there is something, some kind of obstacle, something that's blocking you from taking the next step into something. And that's a problem because you want to take the next step, right? So that's why it's called
Yes.
problem constellation. In the problem constellation, we have first you, and you're the main focus of the constellation, right? After that, we have 5 more components. And we went through those 5 components and we came up with a plan of what we're going to do. So, first, the goal. I have written down the goal is allow me to see what's meant to be without fear getting in the way.
Yes.
And of course, this is specific for you using your spiritual abilities and doing readings for people and writing spiritually inspired books.
Right? Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that would be the goal. We are going to explore, right? And then hopefully we'll get to a resolution. Then the obstacle that is most in the way is the fear of not delivering. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes. Of not delivering the message. Yeah.
Not delivering, tell me.
The message, the clear message, to I want to deliver clarity in a message and as it's supposed to be transferred without me putting anything onto it.
Okay. So the fear of not delivering, yes, the fear of not delivering clear messages that the way they are meant to be.
Exactly.
The way they are meant to land.
Yes.
Okay. Making notes here. And which triggers me somehow, is there if I don't deliver the right message, can you finish that sentence? Because if I don't deliver the right message, then.
Yeah, then. Yeah, I will really feel very bad. I feel like I failed. And then I feel like I'm. It's like what you said earlier. It's like an imposter syndrome. It's like that I would have. The opposite. I don't know the English word, but it's like that I would have promised too much and I'm not able to deliver. So I would feel like a betrayer or a liar, or I don't know how the right word would be.
Okay. Yes. So that it's the not delivering the clear message. The result of that is twofold. One, it doesn't impact people, and two, it does impact you in the sense that you feel like that imposter syndrome comes up. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Then the resource that you can tap into, knowing that if you are on because that's the thing, right? You want to know if you're on the right way, and to see what's meant to be. And in that process, there is a positive resource and a resource that's also positive but doesn't feel like positive, right? So the resource is that the awareness that you're disconnected, because when you physically get ill, and you feel that in between your solar plexus and your navel the most. And then the positive one is that you get inspiration from others. That's a resource as well. Inspiration from others, meditation, and development of your spirituality through classes and this type of, right?
Also inspiration from nature, just from being outside.
And nature. Okay. And then we have the future task. What must you do to reach your goal? And what is the very first step? And you said that would be to making myself visible and starting to talk about what I do. And making it world known that I am a medium and that I write books. Right? Is that correct?
Yes. It already feels scary.
Can I ask, where do you feel that fear?
Yeah, exactly, in that area, in the upper belly level. It just kicked in. So, oh my god.
Okay. Let me ask you an in-between question. What would you like to feel instead?
um, Joy and a move forward, and a pull, like that, a deep trust and knowing that this is the right thing to do. And this is what my soul is here to, yeah, it's my soul's mission, and to really have that clear knowing in that area.
Okay. 6. What do you gain from not taking these steps and from not reaching your goal? And the gain that you have in not reaching your goal is that if you don't know if it's the right way, you can hide behind a wall of, I don't know if it's the right way, so why put effort in it?
Yes.
And so it keeps you safe. Not taking a step keeps you safe. And like you mentioned, not stepping into the arena is always safer than being in the arena.
Yeah.
I'm going to share the screen.
Yeah.
And you can choose whether you put it on the screen yourself or if you look and you let me move. And I want you to give you the possibility to also, at any moment, change if you want me to take over from the field or if not. Now, because if at some point you feel like you are, I don't know, hyper connected, or there's, a reason that you say, well, I really don't want to, I really would like you to take over, then I can. And the only thing you just have to do is switch to the Zoom and decide to do everything from there, right? And tell me, I would like to move left, I would like to move.
Perfect.
Okay. Let me the field in. Okay, so you're familiar with the field, right?
Yeah.
Do you need any reminder of how to work with the avatars?
No.
Okay.
I already have it. Yes. I have it already open, so yeah, I guess I still know how to do it.
Perfect. Then take a deep breath. We already grounded. Take a deep breath. And remember, your goal is the exploration, and whatever is stopping you, to allowing to see what's meant to be without fear getting in the way. And then when you're ready, you can choose your avatar from the library in your environment or this one. And put your avatar in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you, how do you see your avatar? Face to you, back to you, on the side?
It's back to me.
Okay, so we see her the same. Okay.
But I turn her so she looks, and I will just change a few colors.
Of course, take your time.
So I placed her in front of the field looking outwards on purpose.
Okay. So for this particular constellation, we're going to set up the field in a certain way first, and then we're going to move. So if you allow me, I'm going to move you.
Yes.
From now on, I would like you to really connect deeply. And this is you. You are this avatar. Okay? And I will move her. We're going to set up the constellation. And the moment that all the components are in the field, that's when we will move.
Okay.
How do you feel?
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I asked, how do you feel?
Scary. Already very scared. It's like the moment you turned me around in the field, it's like, and me looking in the center of what's going on there, or what's supposed to go on there. It's like I'm getting a lot of pressure, and I feel very, scared.
Right? Where do you feel that scared and that pressure?
In the upper belly area, which we described earlier, between solar plexus and the navel, in that area. It really feels like a big punch in there.
Right. So let me remind you that you have control in this constellation, right? And that at any moment, if things get too heavy, you can always, there's two things. You can always step out energetically, right? And disconnect from the field for a moment. But you also have the control to pause or to stop the constellation at any moment, right?
Okay,
You know that, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. As long as you can master them, let's let's start moving. Okay. So I will put in the field. I'm going to first put in the field your goal. You will represent yourself, and I will represent everything else, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Hmm. And now with your goal in the field and looking at that.
Can I ask, is that a wolf?
It is.
When the wolf came in, I felt tons of tension gone, interestingly. So, because I had a vision of the wolf when I was on my big journey, and a wolf came on Cook Islands and at night, and I didn't know what it meant, but maybe it's getting clearer now. And when the wolf is here, I feel like I'm safe. I'm absolutely safe.
It's already a big insight that um, actually just having the wolf in the field without the obstacles, without any of the other components that we're still going to put in there, that actually you feel safer rather than what you expected, right? Fear.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hmm. Okay. So I will put in, um, I will put in two components: the obstacle and the resource. So your obstacle we described as the fear, right? So the fear of not delivering the clear messages the way they are meant to be.
Yeah.
Let me see. And then the resources, your awareness that you're disconnected. It's a dice. Your um, your awareness that you get sick and that pressure. And another resource is your meditations, being in nature, and spiritual development.
So sorry, the dice is my resources?
No, the dice is your obstacle.
Oh, your obstacle, yes.
No, I will. This one. This is your resources.
Ah, okay, great.
So let me add that so that we resources. This your obstacles. So it's your obstacles because that's why they're in between you and your goal,
Yeah,
basically. And I feel like I need to, as your obstacle, I need to be bigger.
yeah, much bigger, I guess.
And as your resources, I feel like I'm incomplete, meaning that there's a component in your resources that's missing, probably. Well, but we'll get to that at some point. Could be, could we that we only identify part of your resources, that one of your resources can also be a strength or your connection.
Mm.
Do not. Do you have an idea what another resource could be that wants to show up in the field?
I don't know, what comes to my mind is a spirit guide.
Oh, very good. Okay, so let me tune into that. Because funny enough, before I chose the flower, I wanted to choose a woman.
What came to my mind is my grandma, paternal side. So I don't know. It feels as if one or maybe both of my grandmas trying to encourage me.
And those are very good resources. Okay, so let me get that initial hunch as well. You can have multiple resources, and multiple things can be. It would make sense that one of your grandmothers is your spirit guide here now to support this process. So let me. No, she probably wasn't this sporty, but I'm going to put her in. And I'm going to lock these two resources together. How do you feel now?
It's like you said before, it's like as if a missing power is recognized now, or something which was not fully put in place, or how do you say that? As if I have not acknowledged her in the way she deserves. But now, since I acknowledge her and see her for what she truly is, it feels complete.
Okay, good. How do you feel towards the obstacle?
Very powerful. It's like I might be able to just kick it out of the way, but at the same time, it feels like really concrete, like steel. It's very heavy, but it also feels as if it's not mine, as if it's something from outside, like a program or something programmed into me or whatever. But it feels as if it does not belong to me.
Let me see what each component on the field says. So your goal feels unseen. Your goal immediately, the wolf immediately feels like I'm not seen, I'm hidden, I'm. It feels unseen. It feels unacknowledged and unseen, and it's almost like like it's hidden behind this obstacle.
Mhm.
And if it could move already, it would like to turn around and leave. Um,
Can I say something or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it feels like the obstacle is very heavy, but it also feels like it's a glass or something, and I can't see the goal clearly because it's foggy. The obstacle is very foggy and is hiding the real goal. So I just cannot really see the goal, and it's making my heart break. So, but at the same time, I don't know how to get through the obstacle or to how to make my way through it or around it.
Okay. Let's see what the obstacle has. Yeah, the obstacle feels very solid. It's funny because the obstacle feels also very neutral. It feels very here, but it's almost like I can be interpreted as the obstacle. I can be interpreted in 100 ways. I'm very neutral. Whatever you make of me, that's what I become. But I don't feel like I myself have a direction. It's like I'm the direction that is assigned to me. That's the okay. And then let me see what's the resources. The resources are very happy. The resources are really here to support, really here to yeah, let's bring it on. Very um, energy infusing, and also want to move. All of them want to move. Okay, I'm going to put in the field the future task and what you secretly gain. So the future task, if I may remind you, was to make yourself visible.
Sorry, can I ask a question? I have a question to the obstacle. When it says that it has the meaning, whatever it is given, from whom? From me?
It didn't mention that
Ah,
actually. You know how this works, right? It's kind of what you get from those words that makes it um, maybe we'll find out later, that
mhm.
makes it real. I'm sorry, there seems to be something. Can you hear the sirens in the background?
No,
No.
no.
Okay. Okay. Good. Then I will put in the field. So the future task, which is becoming visible and stepping over the fear, basically taking action to become visible, and the secret game, which is to not be vulnerable, to be safe, and to not step into the arena. Hmm. but let me change it in color so we can see it a little bit better. And then I'm not sure if this is, so this is the image that comes to mind, but I'm not sure if it exists. Almost, there's almost something like I want to, something that covers me like a blanket. Hmm. Or something that hides me like a box. Box. I can have a box. There we go. What is happening with you now that all the elements are in the field?
And just to clarify, so the box is the
Secret game.
secret game, and the key is the visibility.
Future task, your visibility, yes. How do you feel in general being in the field now? What are the physical sensations?
I feel I'm losing my breath. It's like the area which we mentioned before between my navel and solar plexus is getting very dense and tight, and it's difficult to breathe. I almost feel like in a prison.
Okay.
I felt much safer before those two items were in the field, but now when the key was in there, it still was okay, but the box, that's really very scary.
Okay. Okay. So let me see how quickly tune in. Okay. The box feels like being, and it's kind of funny that the components, that the symbolism, the box feels like jumping on top of the obstacle and making it stronger and making it like the obstacle could be in the box and the box would be happy. And the obstacle still seems very neutral. The box has an opinion. The box has a strong opinion. The goal now feels like it needs to shrink and just the wolf wants to become a mouse. That's how small it wants to become. Um, your future task, quite neutral as well. And it kind of feels like moving a little bit. I'm not sure where to yet. It will guide me when it's time. And the resources feel like pushing me forward, but almost like in a little bit more of a controlling way. Okay, now let's find the freedom to move. So if you want to move your avatar, you want to move in the field, please do.
Yes.
And I will too. I will move all the other components and then we'll reset.
I feel so sorry for the goal, and I really would like to encourage it to come up to its real size, and um, because it just feels wrong that it's so tiny and small and doesn't want to be seen. And at the same time, I feel a pull towards the future task. And at the same time, the secret game is really like a black hole. It's really an on-off situation. It pulls and pushes me, and at the same time, it irritates me completely. And I lose clarity when it's in the field, and I lose my power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel so drawn to the goal because it's heartbreaking what's happening with the goal, and at the same time, I feel a magnetizing push to the key, to the future task, but I feel too sorry for the goal, so I can't move. I'm like hypnotized, in the trauma reaction. What's that? It's like not the freeze state, but the other one. It's like there is
Freeze, fight, flight, freeze, fawn.
fawn. Yeah, it's a mixture between freeze and fawn, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did anybody in your family has anybody ever been in prison?
Not that I know of. It's just my grandfather after the war. The soldiers were, were kept imprisoned by the, by the other nations, but not that I know through crime, through another crime.
Okay, but that's a good one. So your grandfather, was that your grandfather on your mother's side or on your father's side?
Yeah, I'm not sure if both were, because on my father's side he was in both world wars, and on my mother's side he was in the World War, and I think he was for several years imprisoned, I think, by the Americans. I don't know about the other one, but he for sure was in prison. But they survived, which was a difficult thing as well, because millions died in that state, and yeah. But I think his heart was closed, because I'm my grandfather on the paternal side. I didn't meet him because he died 2 years before I was born. But the other one, I was 17 when he passed. But his we were very close. But at the same time, I think his heart was closed due to what he was forced to do. He was forced to kill a lot of people.
So that's your paternal grandfather,
Yes, I know my maternal from my mom.
mother's. Okay. Because what I notice is two things. When you talk about him specifically, and he was the one that also was imprisoned by the Americans.
Yeah, well, it was not really a prison because they had no space, so they kept them on the fields outside like cows. So, um, yeah, so it wasn't really imprisoned. It was what happened to all the German soldiers.
Okay. So it sounds, when you talk about this, there's two things I noticed. The first thing is that basically you flew over your paternal grandfather and then you stayed much longer in the story of your maternal grandfather. And even though both were imprisoned, only with your maternal grandfather you called it imprisonment. So I think we and I had a physical reaction to it when you talk about him as well. So the reason I'm asking is because at some point when all the elements were in the field, you said, "I feel like I'm in a prison,"
Mm.
which is a very strong indicator of that possibly there is something passing down and that imprisonment still feels strong. Now, analyzing this, it would make sense that as as your grandfather, you wouldn't want to stand out. You wouldn't want to be visible because the more visibility, the more danger. The more you give your opinion, the more it, especially in prison, the more you are in danger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm sure he had to hide and to not be seen, otherwise he would have been killed.
How does that resonate in your body when I say that?
Yeah, it's like that. Exactly in that area between the navel and the solar plexus, I feel totally powerless, and I have no idea if I will survive this. And also I feel like if I step into my grandfather now, I feel like I thought I did the right thing, and now I'm imprisoned and I'm told that whatever I did was wrong. So I feel like I lost clarity, and I was forced to do things against my will, and I was forced to kill people, and now I'm yeah, it's all mixed up. It's I'm so confused because I thought I did the right thing, and then I had to kill people, which made my heart close because I couldn't stand that. I hated it, and and then I got imprisoned and treated very badly, though I deserved it. And at some part of me thinks that I deserved to suffer so much and to live outside and with no shelter and no food and nothing, and to not know if I will survive the next minute or hour or day, if I will ever wake up, if I will ever go home. And I feel so lost, and I feel I lost trust in humanity because I don't know whom I can trust anymore. And
Okay, I
and
want you to give it a moment, disconnect from him, connect to your own avatar, and I'm going to feed you back a couple of things that you just mentioned. So you mentioned, I don't know if I will have food, if I will have shelter, and literally in our interview, you mentioned, I'm starving, I'm dying on an energetical level when you get sick, right? That
yes, true.
then several times you now said, I lost trust in humanity, I lost trust in myself, maybe I deserve this. that's the trust issue that also comes back. So let's keep this in mind. And I think if the field allows it, we will work a little bit with your grandfather. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Connect with you in the field again, and let me, because a lot happened, and a lot of what was said was, of course, landed in the field. So let's see what the components think. So your grandma, your resources, after you mentioned all this, they now feel like moving towards you. First, they felt disconnected. And now that all this was said, right, the truth is a very powerful tool. Now that all this is said, she feels like moving towards you. The girl is a little bit lost now. It kind of doesn't know if it wants to crawl into you and be protected, or if it wants to grow bigger and protect you. It feels like it's a little bit in a dual, like in this, in a how do you call that? A split. And it's, so what do I do? What do I do? And it doesn't know very well how to choose between becoming bigger or becoming smaller and jumping in your pocket. The future task feels like coming closer to you. And also, it kind of feels like shielding you from the obstacle, like protecting you. There's a lot of protection coming up here. It feels like protecting you, and you know, um, let's see. And hmm, the secret gain. So the secret gain and the obstacle really feel like one and the same, which kind of maybe makes sense because the secret gain. So remember, the obstacle was the fear of delivering, and the secret gain is safety because you are not stepping out there. So they kind of feel like they're intertwining and they're one and the same. Um, in some cases, the obstacle and the secret gain are the same thing, right? There's the safety, and the safety prevents me from because I feel so nice and cozy and safe here. It prevents me from putting myself out there and making myself visible. So they're gonna stay combined for the time being. Let's see. How are you now hearing all that and with the changes?
It's very interesting. A lot of anger is coming up, which is for me, usually I suppress the anger, and it's coming up very clearly, and a lot of, I'm almost furious, and I feel betrayed somehow, by the obstacle and by the secret game. Um, it feels like they manipulate my mind. Um, I feel completely betrayed from the obstacle and the secret game. I feel like they are lying to me, and they make me uh, think or see or feel things which are just not true and not real and are not valid.
How do you feel towards the the future task?
And that energy of anger and curiosity is transforming when I look into the future task, and it's becoming very powerful. It feels like um, because I was held back for so long, now I can transform that energy into a powerful move forward energy. It feels as if I can use all that suppressed anger and negative energies and transform it and when I transform it, and then I can go to the future task and dance with it and enjoy and lightness. And so it's a complete transformation of like subconscious hidden feelings and bring them up and then transform them and switch them into the light.
Yes. Yes. That sounds already like a great way, a great way forward. Actually, we're gonna make it even better because the more you express yourself, the more the 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 more your grandfather energy comes up, and the more the thing. I feel betrayed. I feel sort of kind of like brainwashed almost. Like I feel like I'm being taught to believe something that that was exactly your grandfather's situation.
Yeah, it was. he was betrayed completely.
So and he was in all that. He was forced to do things that a human in general doesn't want to do
When he was
because
18 or so, so he was, he just
very
was
young.
too young.
Did you know your grandfather?
Yes, we were very close. We lived in the same house,
You said
and
that. I'm sorry.
when I was 17, he passed, but we were always very, very close. I would always spend almost every weekend as a kid with him and my grandma.
Okay. Hmm. He feels like a very soft man, anyway. Very gentle, very.
On the outside, he was quite harsh, but inside, he was very, very soft.
Let me see. He just wants to be here and look at you. He really admires you. So this is your maternal grandfather. He's also looking very, very. He's looking at both you and your grandmother with a lot of love. And
But it's not his wife, right? It's not his wife.
exactly, that was my. I know that was my kind of. But there's a lot of admiration in both directions. So yes, no, it's not his wife, but he's looking at this almost like a person can look at the world with love. Does that make sense? Like not because you're related, but almost like it's an admiration. Like I don't know. It's a
My grandmother was very hardworking, and she was almost 20 years older than my grandfather. And I think he had a lot of empathy towards her because she was a very, very hardworking woman. And and I think he was a hard worker too, until war had broken him.
yeah. We go through all the. How do you feel now that your grandfather is in the field?
I feel like tears want to come up. It feels so. I miss him so much. He was really the man energy in my life who um, I related the most. He was like he was more my. He was I was closer to him as to my dad,
Mm,
and he would braid my hair, on Saturday evening and comb my hair for hours. And yeah, when I was writing text or stories, as a little kid, when I was just about to learn to read and write, he would read them, and he would even pay me, a little money, because he tried to encourage me to write stories. And um, yeah, he was. We were very close, very connected.
I feel that in the field, the secret game now is no longer feeling like it's part of the obstacle, and the obstacle, and it wants to. The secret game is like is wants to be smaller, and the obstacle feels more like drawing towards your grandfather. Um, it's still in a. It's still. It almost feels like it's tied to you with a string, and it can only move out of your field with so much. It doesn't have a lot of leeway to move away from you, uh, but it wants to be here, and your grandfather actually feels like he wants to sit on top of it, and he did before. So when he came in the field, your grandfather wanted to sit on top of it, but because it was hidden by the box, he couldn't really get to it. That's it. Do you feel like you maybe can stand up, or do you feel like you still need to sit down at the goal?
No, I want to stand up, and I really would like to cut off that string, because I realize that this obstacle is not mine. It belongs to my grandfather, and I really want to give it back to him.
That gave a sigh of relief into the field when you said that, the entire field when you said that. So let me give you some healing statements. Let's see what the goal is also kind of. It wants to take a little bit of distance from you. It it wants to. It's funny. It still cannot find its place very well, but I think that might change as soon as we start to express some healing statements. So I want you to look at your grandfather, and I want you to tell him, so you knew each other, so you don't have to introduce yourself to him, right? And I want you to tell him, dear grandfather,
Dear grandfather,
I say yes to what happened to you.
sorry, I say yes to what happened to you. Is that what you said?
Yes.
I say yes, what happened to you.
I say yes to your fate.
I say yes to your fate.
How is this to say that to him?
It's a huge relief. I think he appreciates that I acknowledge what he had to endure, and that I finally let the truth come up and be seen and acknowledge it, and at the same time let it go, because I feel that he doesn't want me to burden with it. He wants to take it back.
Yes, he feels very, he feels like he wants to, he's not doing that, but he feels like his knees are buckling and he wants to drop to his knees. He has this, it's almost like this huge amount of like sorrow, like all the things he couldn't show, like they're almost falling out of him. And but he's not showing it, but he's releasing it, but he's outwardly not showing it. Okay. So I want you to tell him, dear grandfather,
Dear grandfather,
you could not be visible.
you could not be visible.
You could not be vulnerable.
You could not be vulnerable.
And sometimes I feel that in my body.
And sometimes I feel that in my body.
And it prevents me from stepping into my power.
And it prevents me from stepping into my power.
But what I feel
But what I feel
happened to you.
happened to you.
How is that?
It's it's as if a huge wound is healing in between the navel and the solar plexus. It feels as if there was like a really huge wound, infection wound, and now starting to heal and become complete again. Um, a huge cleansing and healing at the same time, and I feel complete now.
Not done yet, so let's take it one step further. I want you to say, dear grandfather,
Dear grandfather,
when I allow myself
when I allow myself
to see what's meant to be
to see what's meant to be,
without fear getting in the way,
without fear getting in the way,
without the fear that you felt getting in the way,
without the fear that you felt getting in the way,
I will honor you.
I will honor you.
And when I get to fully express myself
When I get to fully express myself
by writing books and giving readings,
and writing books and giving readings,
I will celebrate
I would celebrate
for me
for me
and also a little bit for you.
and also a little bit for you.
How is that? Take a moment to let that land and let me see what's happening on the field. Hmm. Grandmother is really wants to support you. She kind of wants to hug you from behind, if that's okay. Will you allow her to do that?
Yes, please.
Let me see what your hmm. I I'm not sure what this. It's funny. Your secret game. It feels like transforming. It feels like it's no longer in a box. It's very funny. It feels like almost like fireworks, like a star or a something that I'm gonna change it around. Let me see. This, I guess. The obstacle is feels like it can move away, but it wants your grandmother to move with it, and it feels like really like being in his pocket or being with him, like as almost as his backpack or being in his pocket here. The future task feels like moving to the goal. Let me know whenever you want to speak, right? Because I'm making a lot of changes and things. And it's and your goal seems to want to become a little bit bigger. And funny enough, now I notice that when I chose the color of the secret game, that it's actually the color of the goal. I didn't realize that before. How are you feeling?
When you transform the secret game into the star or firework, it was like it was really like something has completely shifted 180 degrees. It feels like I'm very sorry for my grandpa, what he had to go through, but I'm very thankful that he's lifting that load off from me because it's not mine. And I feel that I honor him the most if I live my life instead of his life. And I feel a lot of loving support from my grandmother, and I feel so much love from my ancestors.
It's very funny when you say, I feel sorry for my grandfather. He is actually not sorry at all. He is sort of, so within him, there is this feeling of, but I'm okay to carry this. I'm, I'm, I'm content to carry this.
It's interesting that you say that because before I got a message from him that that was my soul's path. I had chosen this before my incarnation. I wanted to make this experience, and so yeah, it was his choice apparently. And funny enough, I see him as one of the most enlightened person I've ever met. In the end of his life, because he was so content and so happy with the tiniest things in life, and that impressed me so much. And I feel that I have a lot of power from behind, kind of from my ancestors, especially from my grandma and my grandfather, who really want to help me to step into my power and to take the right actions now to move forward into the direction of my goal.
I think so. And your grandmother, now that you said that, realizes that she has to let you go, that she wants you to step forward, and that she needs to let you go for you to be able to do that. How would you feel moving towards your goal and the future task?
Yeah, I would love that. It feels like I want to tell them I'm ready now. I'm ready now to take the responsibility and whatever it takes to answer the calls and the calling from my soul, and to serve for the highest good and for the highest good of whoever is involved in that.
I think we should leave it at this.
Yeah, it's very
If I
powerful.
feel into everything, all the components, I'll do a last round of components. So first, I want you to express for one last time, how do you feel now, and how is that spot between your navel and your solar plexus?
Oh, I wanted to say that before. It felt like, I think the transformation of the secret game opened like a blockage, which was like installed between my navel and my solar plexus. And afterwards, the energy was able to move, really down into the belly, deep into the belly and up. And now it feels like there is like boiling water, with a lot of, how do you say that? Water, air, like bubbles. And it feels like boiling, and it feels like the energy is boiling and cooking. And ready to flow upward. But I can feel like the meditation did it before. The energy is flowing now, is flowing again, and before it was blocked.
Amazing. Okay. So let me do a last round. So your grandfather is actually, like I said, content. And so is the obstacle. The obstacle kind of feels like, the obstacle kind of almost feels like you know how like a, it's not an, it doesn't feel negative. It feels like it needs to be there. And it's almost like the obstacle feels like, yay, now I'm going on all these adventures. And when I put him the backpack on, he, the total of your grandfather with the obstacle felt like they were going to go on a journey, almost like they were walking through a jungle or something like that. They feel very relaxed and they feel like they're meant to be together. So that's a good thing. And your your secret game feels like it wants to be respectfully close. It's like it transformed, meaning that the original game is no longer there. You don't know what this new secret game is, but it looks a lot more positive than the box. And your grandmother and the other resources kind of feel like they're there, but you don't really need them. And they almost feel like stepping away a little bit because you don't need them to be there for you to complete this step. So, and the goal is there, but it feels like it doesn't want to step backwards, but it wants to step backwards because it feels like the future task. It kind of feels like you need to use the future task first. And so, but it feels very close. It's almost like a neck to neck race where the future task needs to be addressed, needs to be done right before you can reach your goal. It's this close to each other.
And the future task is to get things done, or what is that? What was that again?
Your future task is to be visible.
Mm.
So what you left with your grandfather was the need for safety and to be hidden and to not step out there. And the future task was that making myself visible, taking the first, and that's why the future task and the goal are so close to each other. It's a tiny step, not a I'm going to make it world known, or maybe it is, but as the way it looks like here, only a very tiny step is needed, and to only a little bit of visibility is needed to already reach your goal because they're very, very interconnected.
And it's very funny. Can I share a little story which might be related to that?
Yes, absolutely.
A few months ago, I was at work, and there was probably a bit too much alcohol. But at some point, I said, I just said, because I had no control anymore about my words, but it was still a safe environment, I guess. But I said that I'm a psychic medium in a surrounding where I would have never ever mentioned that at all. But it felt like a huge relief, and I felt like, well, finally he said it, and it was like very healing back then. But I said it with no control about my words, because I was just very drunk in that situation, and the others as well. So they probably didn't hear it, and if they would have heard it, they probably would not even know what it is. But yeah, so it's like I know what you mean with a tiny step, I think.
Tiny step. Maybe it's not a step that you need to take per se in a corporate world. Maybe the tiny step is to tell two people outside of the normal circle, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, I don't want to do that in the corporate world, but it's yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay. So let's close it here. Let me take a screenshot for you. I will send it to you on email. Okay. And then you know how this works. Please
So,
release me from everything before you release yourself from the room.
so thank you, Carolina, for taking on the role of the obstacle, my grandfather, the secret game, the resources, my grandma, the future task, and the goal. I release you from your role.
Thank you. And for you as well, take a deep breath.
And I release myself from the role.
Very good.
Thank you so much. I mean, I feel so, wow. So, I mean, that was so powerful.